The Fargo Five. I'm Conrad Fargo, and this is the city of frost and fire. You will discover the authentic stories of the extraordinary people that we have in this city that define our north of normal metro. Today, we have Felton Summerville, owner-operator of Summerville Outdoor Company. Hello, Felton.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, helps if I turn your camera on, or your microphone on. Try that again.
What's up? How's it going?
There you go. And you can hear yourself in the headphones?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. It's been a long time coming. I know you've been wanting to be on the show for a while.
Yeah.
I finally got you in here. I'm last minute.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming because
You're welcome, man.
This show is a passion project of mine, and scheduling sometimes can be a challenge.
Yes, sir.
No guest, no show. So I
gotta have a guest. So
I really appreciate you
you've looked
stepping
out for
up
me,
to the
so
plate.
I'm looking out for you. I got you.
I appreciate that. So the point of the first segment here, we've got Fargo Famous, is to figure out how it is that you became who you are. If I wanted to start my own outdoor company, how would I do that? Where did you start? What's the beginnings of being a self-employed outdoor company owning businessman such as yourself?
How it all started. And be honest, I never used to like the smell of grass. But one day I started with a landscaping company here in town, Garden Pro, and I mean, I worked for this guy, and he was just a really good boss. Helped me learn everything as quick as I can, had me doing stuff on my own, and, I got the passion to start liking it, and especially when it comes to, like, pavers and stuff like that. So, the kind of creative mind that I have, that, I was like, you know what, I found what I needed to, I need to do, and I can turn this into a career. So ended up doing that myself. I started doing some lawns and on the side, and then it just turned into good money, and he ended up, kind of.
So you were working for, who were you working for first?
Tony Randle with Garden Pro.
And was that like your first job? How long ago was that? How old are you?
I am 33 years old.
33. So
let's track back. As of today, I am 32, but on Friday.
Oh, hey,
happy 33.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so how old were you when you got this this first gardening job, or was this your first gardening job, or what?
This was my first landscape, mowing, all that. This was my first, and that was, I'd say 2015. Yeah. 2015.
Oh, wow. So you were, so that was 8 years ago. You were in your mid-20s. What did you do before then?
Just random little things, bars. I worked at a bar, a couple of moving companies, and things like that. But this was like my kind of jump start to.
And I'll have you. Why don't we move the mic? I'm having a hard time hearing you so good. It should really come through in the.
Is this?
There you go.
There we go.
Do you hear that?
Yep.
You should be able to hear yourself real good in the headphones, just like that. So when you were working at the bar, because this landscaping company's in Fargo here.
Yep.
But you're not from Fargo. You moved here from Minneapolis.
Yes, sir.
From the cities.
Yes, sir.
And is that where you born and raised?
No, I was born in Monrovia, Liberia.
Oh.
And I was raised in Brooklyn Park, Minneapolis area.
When did you move from Liberia? I did not realize that. When did you move from Liberia? I know you go back there all the time, and you have relatives.
When I was young, that's when I moved. When I moved here.
How old?
I would say, I think 4 or 5. Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I mean that's so. And what I know nothing about Liberia.
Oh man.
I assume. Yeah.
You got to try some Liberian jollof rice.
Okay.
Once you try that, you will kind of understand.
Where is Liberia?
West Africa.
Okay.
Yep,
okay.
On the coast.
And Africa, I've heard, is a pretty big place.
Oh, very big.
So a lot of different countries out there. Is it true Liberia has the exact same constitution as the United States?
It is a territory of the United States.
Oh, it is?
Yes, sir.
I didn't even know that.
Well, there you go.
Ignorant American. I don't know.
No, don't say that. All you got to say is you learn something new every day. You can't call yourself ignorant.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. You got to
learn something new every day.
That's very kind of you to give me the grace there. So you move here when you're 4 years old, so you must have some memories.
Of Liberia?
Yeah. And then how often do you go back? You recently went back. I don't mean to bring up a sore subject, but you had a loss in the family, right? I think you recently went back, or
grandma's funeral.
Yeah. And so was that your first time back in a long time, or how often do you get back?
Not that going back to Liberia is like, it's something that's not the easiest thing.
No.
Yeah, so.
Well, I know my wife's Japanese, right? And so we know what it takes to, how long does it take to get on a plane and get back? It's got to be a whole rigmarole.
16 or something like that hours.
Yeah, in the air.
Yep.
Yeah. Japan, very very similar.
Yep.
And then with all the layovers.
There's a lot of layovers to go to Liberia. So
yeah,
it's not like you can grab a flight from here to California. It's like, nope, you gotta sleep sometimes, and your jet lag and all that stuff too.
A lot of travel. And so you're 4 years old. How often do you get back then? Not really very often.
Not that often.
So you're mostly just growing up. Was it much of an adjustment moving into Minneapolis? Do you remember having difficulty? I've got a 4-year-old, and I couldn't imagine bringing her to a foreign country to you adapt quickly.
Well, when I moved here, my mom was already in America before me, so I had somebody else kind of chaperone me on the plane, and with that, I didn't really, growing up in America is different, and, I didn't get a chance to do that in Africa, so, and I'm lucky, some people don't get that opportunity.
So, you're in Minneapolis, you're growing up there. What made you decide, what even is, when we're in Fargo, we think of Minneapolis as the cities, right? Like those are the cities. We're going to go down to the cities for the weekend, go to shop at the Mall of America. When you're growing up in Minneapolis, how do you seeing Fargo? What's the vibes when it comes to Fargo?
Well, with Fargo, the only reason I had a friend that lived up here, and I just wanted to get away when I chose to finally move to Fargo and start something new and do my own thing.
Well, get away from what?
Get Minneapolis. And Minneapolis is a big city. Me personally, I'm not into. If I go to a big city, I just like to go there for a weekend, go there for fun.
Too much hustle and bustle?
Too much. Yeah, it's too much for me. I like the small town feeling. Even Fargo is growing. I still like the way that Fargo is growing. Fargo is to me, it's a really good size. So with Fargo is a good size for me. So this is something that I like. I don't like living in the big city. I like visiting and going to sporting events like Vikings games, but not really there. And if I were to move back in that area, it would probably be a smaller suburb outside of that area. I just don't, the traffic and all that thing, and drivers, and too many of that.
So who is this friend who you were following to Fargo, North Dakota?
It's an old friend of mine. His name is Earl.
Yeah.
So I came down, and
you and Earl,
he lived here, 2 years.
You must
before.
be pretty close to relocate just for this friend Earl.
Well, it wasn't for him in all retrospect. It was more for myself. But I knew somebody that lived here. I knew a couple of other people that lived here, and it was like, I can move. I moved here, and then he was the first person that I stayed with to kind of help me get on
what was
my
the
feet.
first job that you got when you landed?
Oh, my first Fargo job, man. It was at Applebee's on 45th.
Yeah.
Man, that place, that's when they used to have the radio station there on Thursdays. That place used to be busy.
Yeah.
I cooked there. I served there.
I bet you do pretty well as a server. You've got such a great. You have a very rosy disposition every time. Yeah, you walk into a room, you always got a big smile, and you're very friendly. Did you do well as a server? Did you like doing that, or maybe not so much?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
One thing, meeting different people. Sometimes you get a table from Fargo. Sometimes especially during hockey season, you'll get someone from somewhere different, and it's crazy. There's so many times you meet someone, and they're from around where you're from, the area, and then they end up knowing somebody that you know. So that's the nice, fun, interesting thing about serving. Money was decent.
Tip jobs tend to be pretty good, no? I delivered pizza for 12 years.
Yes, if you
felt like I was getting away with something.
Yeah, you make it, but like that to me, you know, that fast cash it depends how you save it and how you what you do with it can make you, you know, either make money from it or technically don't. But I mean, so serving was pretty good at Applebee's.
So why move into landscaping? What gave you the idea, or were you kind of hopping around jobs and it was the landscaper himself, or how did that come to be? How did
garden? That's back when Craigslist was a thing, and then I just looked on Craigslist and I seen it, and
Why were you looking on Craigslist though?
Just for a job.
And so you didn't have a job at the time?
No, I had a job. I just wanted something different. I'm always, you know, I've always wanted something different until I can find my thing. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Well, no, because you've been doing landscaping for 8+ years, and then now you have your own one.
And I found that, and I liked it. So, you know, most people, when it comes to jobs, they'll just work at it, and I find something that I like. So then the next step is, what can I do to better off myself with this? Yeah. Since I like it, it's like a passion.
It was Doug. You said you were working for Doug?
No. Tony Randle.
I'm so bad at names. So you were working for Tony. For how many years did you work for Tony then?
Since 2015 until 2023. The winter of 2023 was technically my last time with him.
Yeah, I didn't realize Summerville was so young.
So crazy thing about Summerville Outdoor. What's today's date?
The 11th of February.
Yes, sir. Yesterday was our second year in business.
Oh, hey.
And so now we're moving on to year 3.
Beginning year 3.
Yep.
Onwards and upwards.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where did I think a lot of people say to themselves, I want to be self-employed. I want to be my own boss. And especially when you're working for somebody else, maybe you see what they're charging and you see what you're getting paid, or, you know, what was it as you were working? Why leave the warm embrace of the employer to strike out on? It ain't easy being self-employed.
That's true. That's true.
You keeping at it for 2 years, so you must enjoy some aspect of it. But what motivates you?
Like I said earlier, I was working for him, and then after I get done, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I would go do a couple of other lawns. I have a buddy of mine that owns a couple of restaurants in town that was like, hey, I started at his house. I met him when I worked at the 4 Points by Sheraton when I was a front desk staff there. So got to meet that guy. He got a couple of restaurants in town and started just mowing his place. Mowed some other people's properties. I think I had about 5 or 6. So I would go do that 2 a day or something like that. Check on them. Sometimes I'll, back then that's when, we had a lot of rain. So there was a lot of lawns to be mowed. So I would go and do all that, and Tony Randle would, I would use some of his equipment and things like that, but he, I let him know, like, hey, I got these extra properties after work, and he was cool with it. So doing that made me make a little more. There's a little saying that says, like, once you're part-time, once you can make something from your part-time, it can finally become your full-time. If it's somebody, you have a passion of something, you have a full-time job, a 9 to 5, but after that you're doing something else. And once that something else starts making a good amount of money, to make that into your full-time, because that's your passion, that's something that you like. So, in a way, made a little bit more, and, Tony was kind of gave me his good graces and sold some of his contracts to me. Ended up getting that, and that's how I started my own. And I'm like a sales guy at heart, so I feel that everybody that I've earned them in speaking with them. And I do have a couple of customers who have not met yet, but I've met 90% of my customers.
All right. Well, I think that is all the time for customers we have. We're going to take a quick break,
yes, sir.
And when we come back, we're going to talk Fargo Fun, so don't go. Oh, I don't have this music. Hold on here. We're off the rails. There it is. You hear that? Can you hear that in your headphones? Yeah, that's music. Okay. Don't go nowhere.